Well, greetings, my friends. I come to you today with another email report from the Environmental Working Group. I believe it's ewg.org. You can get their emails just like I do. But this one is about the PFAS, which is also known as the forever chemicals, the chemicals that stay around a really long time and that are really harmful for your body. And the title of this message today is The Top 3 Ways to Lower Your Exposure. So I'm going to read that to you so that you can get some of it. Um, they say that the harmful forever chemicals, they're known as PFAS, are everywhere. The Environmental Working Group scientists say wherever we look, we find them. But reducing exposure to these toxic substances is possible. They are in the blood of 98% of Americans. The health harms they can cause include a greater risk of some cancers, suppressing the immune system, and more. They're linked with increased cholesterol, reproductive and developmental problems, and other health harms. They've been used in hundreds of different consumer products and industrial products, and they are detected across the globe. Contaminated drinking water, food, and consumer product exposure explains in part why PFAS are found in nearly everyone. Many PFAS stay in the body for years, but reducing or eliminating exposure sources will ensure levels drop over time. While it's challenging even to identify what we're up against with this, they consider it the PFAS crisis. You can still take simple steps to reduce your exposure. There are ways to avoid PFAS in 3 top aspects of daily life: drinking water, food and cookware, and in the clothes that we wear. I know, surprising, right? I know I've talked about the clothes we wear and the detergents that we use. They touch our skin. Our skin is the biggest organ of our body, it's 70%. And whatever chemicals are in our laundry detergents and fabric softeners, they get into our bloodstream through our skin. If they smell good, there's something wrong. They're harmful, usually. That's why I personally sell products that are not harmful to your skin, to washing your dishes, to washing your body, to cleaning your house. Anyway, that's a different video. Drinking water. So I've talked about this before. If you go to the ewg.org and you type in your zip code, it'll give you your drinking water supply and the exposures of different chemicals in that. Tallahassee water is not good water. They call themselves having good water because they compare to the FDA standards, which you cannot trust the FDA standards. They are not good standards at all. Probably in most things that we consume, by the way. So, Environmental Working Group research shows that the majority of Americans are exposed to PFAS in their drinking water. To see what's in your water, find your location on their tap water database and learn about the levels that are estimated to be in your water. The information in the database comes from water utilities, though they haven't all been tested and reported, but most of them have. You see there's a large majority that have been tested in the United States. And so if you use your private well or your water system's not on the map, it's worth considering a filter to reduce the levels of PFAS that may be in the water below detection limits and other contaminants, and to check out their guide, the EWG Guide to Filtering Water for PFAS, and make sure to change the filter as directed. So there's different types of filters that'll filter different chemicals. And they have a whole comparison chart on there. It's really, really, really useful, and it's free. I worry all the time for people that are drinking bottled water. For that reason, you don't know where the water came from, and then you got the plastic aspect of it. They're finding microplastics in heart, in blood, in organs, of course, in fish. It's crazy. So it's better to drink out of a glass, stainless steel, or a BPA-free plastic. I carry water with me on the road all the time. I mean, I carry gallons of filtered water. I filter my well water with a Berkey. Anyway, food. Proposed drinking water regulations assume that for most people, most PFAS exposure, 80%, comes from places other than the drinking water. Food is anticipated to be a major source of that exposure, but FDA, Food and Drug Administration tests of grocery store food have infrequently found PFAS above their detection limits. Another thing about detection limits, whenever you're looking at limits, go compare Europe's standards. Europe has such higher standards than we do here. That's why we're so sick. Food packaging. This is huge. This is huge. Food packaging and storage containers, microwave popcorn bags, and grease-resistant paper have been shown to use PFAS. Products made with these chemicals should be avoided whenever possible. Aluminum, too, by the way. Aluminum is really bad for your brain. I see people using aluminum foil to cook stuff in. I used to. I do not anymore. A research collaboration that the Environmental Working Group participated in found that PFAS in half of fast food wrappers, and another study found higher PFAS levels among people who consume fast food more frequently. By the way, I think I reported, I did a video for a teaching I'm doing about eating healthy recently. I think it's like a 25-minute video a couple weeks ago. And fast food is considered junk food, by the way. Fast food is junk food. And snacks, the things that kids and people call snacks, chips in bags, candy bars, this is all junk. They're not really snacks. Snacks are wholesome foods, whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains without, organic whole grains, right? So to limit your exposure, skip microwaved popcorn. You can make your own. It's very easy to do it in the pan with a little bit of oil. Pick the right pan, by the way. You want stainless steel, cast iron, or glass. They're going to talk about that in a minute. So the popcorn has very high levels of PFAS in it. Limit your consumption of foods packaged in paperboard and paper-based takeout packaging. Avoid or limit consumption of fresh water. This was very interesting to me. Freshwater, locally caught fish, if possible. According to the EWG research, even small amounts can raise your PFAS blood level. You don't need to avoid fish, otherwise, because commercial fish sold in grocery stores were not found to be similarly contained. Now, you do have to watch out. The big fish that's caught way out, the big fish will have more mercury because they've been around a long time and they're collecting mercury from the water. And then some of the fish, of course, is consuming the plastics, the microplastics. So there's just some things you just still need to be careful about. Cookware. Most nonstick pots and pans are made with one or more PFAS. But even though it's always been the poster child for PFAS exposure, the cookware is not anticipated to be a major source of exposure, which I was really glad to hear that because I just cringe every time I see one of my guys out camping up in the north in Canada and stuff like that. They pull out their Teflon pans and their tinfoil, by the way, and I'm just like, oh, you don't know what you're ingesting. Anyway, PFAS are easy to avoid in cookware. It makes sense to take the extra step if possible. I did this many years ago myself. It's very easy. Switch to kitchen products that you know are free from these substances, such as stainless steel, cast iron, and glass. And I use almost exclusively stainless steel and cast iron. Carefully choose your cookware. Beware, nonstick cookware claiming it's free of PFOA is notorious PFAS, which has been phased out. The cookware may contain just as toxic replacement chemicals. So those things you probably don't want to buy in a thrift store, Same thing about that. You need to watch out for very, very old china because it's got lead in it. So just need to be careful. Clothing and textiles. Products made of PFAS-treated fabric are most known to consumers as being a source of exposure. Again, it's touching your skin. Your skin is your biggest organ. Anything labeled water, grease, or stain resistant, including clothing, curtains, upholstery, carpeting, has likely been coated or treated with PFAS. You can avoid aftermarket waterproofing, stainproofing treatments unless advertised as free of PFAS. Do your homework before buying new clothing and textiles, like furniture, to make sure they're free from these harmful chemicals. Shop from companies that have made commitments not to use PFAS in any of their products. Vacuum frequently, using a vacuum fitted with a HEPA filter to get rid of household dust that may contain PFAS. By the way, couches and children's clothing have fire resistant chemicals in them. Some law, I don't remember when the law was, it might have been around 1970, between 1970 and 1974. And those are really bad VOCs to breathe. So even all your building materials in new houses and new construction, airing it out is best. So you can get your free guide to avoiding PFAS chemicals just by going to the environmentalworkinggroup.org and put in your postal code and your email address, and they'll give it to you. It also says here what else you can do. Where you live and work may affect how much you're exposed to toxic chemicals like PFAS. For instance, if you live near a military installation or manufacturing plant where PFAS are or were used, the chemicals may have seeped into the water and the soil. You can use EWG's interactive map to check for known contamination sites near you. So that's really good. But these are always factors outside of our control. For most people, it's neither practical nor affordable to move because of chemicals that may be present where they live. So it's a good idea to focus on what you can do in other areas of everyday life, such as filtering your water. It's up to the federal government to protect us from harmful chemicals like PFAS. They're not going to do it. I don't believe they are anyway. But it has mostly failed, though recently it has taken some steps to ban and regulate these chemicals. There's 80,000 chemicals, and there's only been a few that have been required testing to see the effects on human life and health, disease, and stuff like that. It's really a sad thing. 80,000 chemicals, and the list is growing probably daily. So you just need to be aware of that. You can avoid them in your house if you don't shower, shampoo, wash your clothes, wash your dishes in the dishwasher, out of the dishwasher, if you don't use chemicals. And there are ways. Please leave me a message if you'd like on this post, and I'll be glad to share the products with you. It's not going to cost you any more than your chemical. It probably costs you less than what you spend on chemicals that are harming you every day. A lot of people have seen really good results from asthma problems, symptoms going away because they're not breathing the harmful chemicals that are just sitting underneath the kitchen sink, for instance, and then being used weekly to clean, for instance. So anyway, states are also taking steps, it says here. For example, California enacted laws banning intentionally added PFAS chemicals from cosmetics, juvenile products, firefighting foam, food packaging, and textiles sold in the state. And you could click. There's a place you can click to urge your representatives to do that and to stop the crisis. It's not possible to shop your way out of the contamination crisis until the government effectively regulates them. Every good choice you make when you shop can make the difference. So it's really up to us to protect ourselves and our bodies, and also find ways to detox. Maybe I'll do a video about that. I try to detox daily with the sauna, but that's for like heavy metals and stuff like that, and mold for that matter, because that's the business I'm in. But there's a lot of information out there if you're willing to look. And yeah, it does take a little bit of effort on your part to implement the use of some of these things to protect yourself and your family. But you can kind of stop wondering why so many people are sick and so many babies are sick and get cancer. It's because it's passed on. These chemicals and things are passed on through umbilical blood, and they've tested umbilical cord blood and found just horrendous amount of pesticides and chemicals. And it's no wonder we got little babies with cancer, with horrible cancer, suffering and through all that treatment and everything, and young kids and stuff like that. And that's the reason it got passed through their mother in utero, and then they were exposed to it after they came out of the womb. So there's a lot we can do, and so I say smile and consider information as helpful as a positive thing that you can make the changes, the things you weren't aware of, because most people just simply aren't aware of these things. And if you'd like to contact me personally, more privately, you can do so through my website, indoorairqualitymatters.com. And you can always send me a message there that will be private. Nobody will see your email address or anything. If you have questions or if you're interested in any of the products that I mentioned about cleaning your house and mopping and not having to use chemicals, and for cleaning your clothes and cleaning your body, um, they're quite affordable, and I've been using them for many years, and they work really well. So I'm glad to share them with you, and just let me know. So I say, God bless you, and be informed, and go to that Environmental Working Group website, and just have them get on their email list. So let's send you the same emails they're sending me to inform us what's going on. And Kate, they'll ask for donations regularly. I give them a donation every now and again, but just try not to get annoyed about the asking for donations, because they're just they're a nonprofit. They're not. There's no company sponsoring them, because otherwise no company would sponsor them, right? So, anyway, God bless you. Have a wonderful day.